Rev up your engines!
Ford just lowered the price of their Mach-E Mustang, the electric SUV. Really has nothing to do with Mustangs, but they use the name to try to sell the things, right? Well, they've lowered the prices now. They raised them before, but now they've lowered them. As Musk is lowering the prices, and they give all kinds of BS about, oh, we want to make them more affordable, blah, 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 blah. You know, yeah, that's why they raised the price before. The only reason they lowered it is because people aren't buying them. People are realizing, hey, you know, an electric vehicle, high tech, but it's made in Mexico? Isn't that kind of contradictory? Wouldn't you want the high-tech cars to be built in a high-tech place, not in Mexico where quality control is known to be being garbage? Now, the biggest price cut is 8.8%, and some are lower. You're either going to save $600 or around $5,000 if you buy the really fancy one. But the point that they're lowering them shows you they're starting to quake in their boots that, uh-oh, how are we going to sell these things? They're not falling off the shelves like they used to. Like I say, there's always going to be people that want to be in first. They like the innovations. They don't mind being a guinea pig. Oh, we have the newest, latest technology, right? But once that group of people buys the stuff, often that's it. Other people are like, I see there's problems with these things starting on fire. Charging them up. It's cold. It's winter. Batteries don't work as good in winter. I don't think I got to buy one of those things. So the forefront of technology, those people have already bought the stuff. Now they're going to have a hard time finding enough people to buy them. Plus, there's more competition. There's more electric vehicles coming onto the market. Volkswagen, you know, they got their ID.3.4, their little microbus and stuff, and they're going to be making tons of them down the road here in Tennessee. The ones they've already put out in the United States, they've had problems with their electric cars, Volkswagens. Even they haven't ironed the bugs out of their stuff. And they're going to find that the early innovators, there's only so many of them, and then when there's hardcore, regular, middle-class Americans are looking like, hey, I got to balance the budget in my family. I don't want to waste too much money. I don't want to get a vehicle that isn't dependable and I can't take it on trips with the family. Then they're going to have a real hard sell with these electric cars. It's great, it's great, it's great, it's great. And then there's a wall. And they can't get past the wall because the technology isn't proven. People don't like the idea. They're too expensive, right? And eventually, there's going to be a bunch of these going out of business. There's going to be a bunch of models they won't make anymore. Look at Chevy Bolt. They're selling them now. Who would buy one? Doesn't make any sense to me. They get involved in this stuff. They don't even know what they're doing. Well, I was reading an article where now everybody's worried that the big automakers, Ford and General Motors, are entering a period of uncertainty for pricing. They're not sure which way it's going to go, what's going to happen, right? You know why? Because they were greedy. During the COVID, they sold less cars than they have in a long time, right? But they made more profit than they ever did because they just raised the prices of the ones they had. Well, guess what? It's coming home to roost now, and people are like, the scumbags ripped us off, so we ain't going to buy their overpriced cars anymore. Ford's lowering the price of the Mach-E. They're going to have to start lowering a bunch of their prices. Yet, at the same time, I can't help but laugh at this. Duncan Aldred, who was one of the big wheels at GM, he heads GMC, the big trucks and stuff, right? Here's what he says. We expect to continually increase the average transaction price, which hit a new record of more than $63,405 during the fourth quarter. So yet again, they're saying they're going to continue to increase the prices because they're selling the SUVs and stuff and the big trucks, which to me is absolutely hilarious because we have the ultimate in hypocrisy with General Motors. Here we have their head, Mary Barra, saying, we're going to electrify, we're going to be everyone's electric car company, but they're making their profit selling giant trucks and giant SUVs that are tremendous gas hogs. It's been proven with GM's fleet that they're actually polluting more than they were a few years ago because instead of buying smaller fuel-efficient cars, they're buying these giant trucks and giant SUVs that all get horrible gas mileage, right? So here we have total hypocrisy. They say one thing, oh, we're going to be green, 2035, we're going to be so green, they'll make you green with envy, right? But on the other hand, they're selling all these giant trucks and SUVs, and even though everybody can see they should start lowering their prices because people aren't making more money, interest rates are up, they're saying we're going to continue to raise the price of these big trucks, blah, blah. Well, guess what? They can raise them as much as they want. If people stop buying them, it'll be just like Tesla and Ford now with their Mach-E. They're going to have to start actually lowering them, not raising them, but lowering if they want to sell the things. They can put whatever price they want, but if nobody buys the vehicles, they're worth nothing until they're sold. And if people are smart and hold back and say, I'm not going to pay average of $66,000 for this truck, I'll wait, or I'll go to another company that has a better price. Then the competition starts to kick in, and people stop paying that kind of price. And these guys that we're making so much money, we'll just keep raising the price. Well, they'll have to eat their own words eventually. Well, here's another reason not to buy a Tesla. Turns out that a whole bunch of Teslas with relatively minor damage are being written off as totaled by the insurance companies because nobody knows how to fix them. So the estimates are super high, and rather than get involved in a rat's nest of can we fix this Tesla, can we not, they just write the whole thing off. You like your Tesla, then you get in a wreck and they write it off. Well, guess what? They're not going to give you enough money to buy another one, I guarantee you that. Insurance companies that cover the Teslas, even though they're really low mileage, they'd say, wow, that's over $50,000 worth of damage. Here, we'll write it off. We're not going to fix a stupid thing. That is the problem when you get into this technological warfare, right? Decades ago, I had people when I was in Texas bring me cars, and the cars were totaled from like 15-mile-an-hour wrecks. And what totaled them was all the airbags went off. And it cost so much money to replace all those airbags, they would total the car. I had a customer having it happen to his big old Toyota. You know what he did? He just tore all the airbag pieces out and drove it that way anyways. He didn't care. They totaled the car. He bought it back and it drove perfectly fine. And he drove it around with no airbags at all. That was his choice, right? The seatbelt still worked. But with the Teslas, all that electronic stuff, nobody knows how to fix them. The parts are super expensive. And of course, you also have to add in, since the Teslas often do not have spare parts. He's using all his parts to build cars. They don't have that many spare parts, right? The insurance companies find out, geez, it took months to fix the car. Guess what they have to do then? They got to pay for a rental car for you while the car's being fixed. Takes 3 months to fix the car. They got to pay for 3 months of rental car. More money the insurance companies have to give out, so they'll just total the car instead. And of course, everything rolls down the line. Take, for example, some places, the insurance of a Model X is $3,044 a year for normal people, not for teenagers. The insurance companies are going to start raising their rates. If they're totaling them, they're paying out more, so you're going to raise the rates, so that makes the electric cars even more expensive. And this is something, it doesn't matter what the price tag old Elon, if he cuts the prices to sell the stupid things, right? It still isn't going to affect that it costs a fortune to fix them, and they'll be totaled a lot more, and the insurance rates will continue to go up. So you have another reason not to buy a Tesla. You might get in a wreck that doesn't seem that big, and then it's good buy car because of the technology, costs too much money to fix, takes too much time to fix, and so the insurance rates are going to go up. You do get it wrecked, you're out of car, then you got to start from scratch again. Another reason not to buy this high technological stuff, that they obviously have not ironed the bugs out of them yet. Navy P says, I have a spark plug blown out of my Audi. I got an '02 Audi all-road Quattro. I had the hole rethreaded, but the car still shakes. I wonder, maybe it's not threaded enough? I don't have any signs of a blown head gasket. If your spark plug got blown out, it may be an internal problem in the engine that made that happen. And although it's threaded back in. Now, if you say it wasn't threaded in far enough, if that was the case, that it wasn't threaded in far enough, it would be leaking. Right? And that'd be simple. Go to that spark plug and look at it, and you hear exhaust gas coming out. You'd know for sure. I mean, you might put some kind of dye just around there and then look at it. If the dye just sits there, it's not leaking. If it's bubbling all out, you know, there's a leak and you have to fix that. But I doubt if it's that. Do a wet and dry compression test. I'll say cylinder number 3. Compare the spark plug hole that didn't blow out on one of the other 3, and the one that did blow out that was rethreaded. And if you find the one that's been rethreaded, the compression's up, then your engine is internally damaged. And those Audi Quattros, it's an old 2, so it's what, 21 years old. They have a limited lifespan, those little bitty engines, so I wouldn't be surprised if your engine's on its way out, and that's why it's shaking, because your motor is just flat wearing out on the thing. Compression test will tell you for sure. Owen says, I have steam from my reservoir and coolant on the ground. I got a Pontiac Grand Am. There was steam coming out of the reservoir, and you could see it leaking on the ground, but you couldn't see where it's coming from. So he topped it up with coolant and drove home. Didn't have any issues with it, and it wasn't running hot. What do you think could have caused this? All right, well, steam's coming out. Either you got a bad reservoir or a weak cap, it's leaking pressure, the steam will come out, and you'll lose coolant, right? So have the reservoir pressure tested and also replace the radiator cap. And if it doesn't come back, that was your problem. But of course, any problem can make your coolant get low. A little bit of leak in the water pump, a clogged radiator. Keep your eye on the temperature gauge and watch the coolant. Do change the radiator cap. It could just be a bad radiator cap. I mean, it could be a simple thing. Pray it's just that. I mean, it's an old car. It's almost 30 years old. old. So it could be that. But it could be a million other things. So watch it closely. And if you want to do further testing, watch my video, How to Fix an Overheating Car Engine, Scotty. Watch that on YouTube. And you'll see all the tests you can do to see what's going on with the cooling system. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.